I introduced Mr. Dr. Tyagarajan, a senior educator at Madras High Court, specializing in customs and central excise tax. He has been awarded many awards, including the one received from the former Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, for the knowledge on and experience in the field of taxation laws. He has conducted many seminars. We are very happy that he is able to participate in the seminar conducted by the Cyber Society of India. He has also been elected as a Senate member and syndicate member in Dr. Ambedkar Law University. He has been acting as a jury member in Tamil Nadu. He has been acting as a jury member in all the seminar process in the Philips International Moot Court competition from 1984 to 85 till date. Great pleasure in inviting him to deliver his thoughts on the subject. His specific reference to Shakti Mohammed was the state of Himachal Pradesh of 2018. Over to Mr. Dr. Tyagarajan. Hello. Yes, sir.
I thank the Cyber Society of India for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Balu and his family is, continuing the process of the Cyber Society of India and particularly the cyber crime. Balu is the first person who got a conviction in the field of cyber crime, and he is continuing the process from the day one. So I must congratulate him for his effort. My previous speaker, Vijay Shankar, my friend Karthikeyan, Appinai, and Honorable Justice Sumila, another person who are all listening this program, know about the Evidence Act because for the past 3 months, everywhere there are various webinars related to various subjects. And today's topic is only relating to 65B of the Evidence Act. We all know that the term evidence will be used only the facts, either documentary evidence or oral evidence or material objects, are placed before the court of law, and the judge seeing that, make a record of it, then only the word used by the court is evidence. Prior to that, it's all called facts. Relevant facts only admissible. And the relevant facts which are recognized by the Evidence Act alone admissible in under law. So the proceedings are only in judicial proceedings the Evidence Act is applicable. And each and every case is depending upon its own facts. All facts are not relevant and also not admissible. There are various facts which is not at all admissible though relevant. For example, an anonymous letter is a document, but is not admissible. It may contain the truth, may be relevant to the issue, but law will not recognize it. Because the person who gives the evidence must take responsibility for his statement or the document which he files. So that is the object of admissibility of evidence in a court of law. So the facts which are relevant or declared or recognized by the Act from section 5 to 55. Only those facts which are relevant facts, only those facts are admissible under law, admissible in the court of law. So everybody knows about oral evidence, documentary evidence. So oral evidence must be given by a person who perceived through his five senses. Whatever he has heard, whatever he has seen, whatever he has smelled, whatever he has perceived. So mental state is also one of the factors. So that is one of the aspects. Now coming to the documentary evidence, what is document is defined, and I think some of the speakers have written in that. Documents are two types. One is dispositive documents and non-dispositive documents. Section 62 contemplates what is the primary evidence: photography, lithography, printing methods. So they are all primary evidence. Law requires the best evidence to be put in the court of law. Therefore, primary evidence will be given, produced in the court of law. So when primary evidence is produced, there is no problem at all. That will straight away answer the issue of the case. Therefore, there will be no question of dispute. The secondary evidence is the evidence where there is no primary evidence is available at present, or some other reason stated in section 63, 65. Secondary evidence is permissible. Now coming to the electronic evidence or digital evidence, it has been taken out in a printout or in a pen drive or CD or any output. A certificate is mandatory under section 65 or not. That is, the crux of the matter is the certificate. In the Anwar PV case, the Supreme Court has clearly said electronic evidence, if the very material object is produced with a printout or with a CD with the printout along with the hard disk, is a primary evidence. There is no question of going for a certificate. The second aspect of the matter was the document, if coming within the purview of the electronic evidence, certificate under section 16(4) is necessary. In some cases, those documents may fall under section 62 as a primary evidence, and in those cases, if primary evidence is not permissible or not filed, if it is in the nature of a secondary evidence, you need not insist for 16(4) of the certificate, because, say for example, photograph, in the course of trial, we used to mark the negative and examine the photographer to prove that the photograph was taken by him and this is the negative and this is the photo. In the present situation, we take all photographs in our cell phone. So now we take so many printouts. We forward the photos to different persons. So the first person who has taken the photo will have the original photo. Whatever the photos he has transmitted to other persons, they take up the photo and use it. They are not supposed to own the photograph or in possession of the cell phone, that is the material object. So therefore, they are not expected to give a certificate. That is Shafi Mohammed. The object of the principle laid down by the Supreme Court of India in the Shafi Mohammed is, when an electronic evidence is given, if it is a secondary evidence and The person who is producing or relying upon the document or evidence is not in a position to give a certificate. He need not give certificate. So that the evidence is admissible. Whoever in possession of the material which has been used for taking photographs or videographs alone can give certificate. So the Supreme Court said when the person producing the certificate, producing the evidence is not the owner of the instrument, he need not give certificate and he cannot be compelled to give certificate because he cannot give it. So now the Supreme Court in the Shafi Muhammad case proceeded to develop the law, thereby appointing committees. There are various committees have been appointed to lay a roadmap for use of the videography during the investigation, recovery of materials, recording of statement under section 161, confession under section 154. So the CRPC, though amended, there is no proper roadmap for solving the problem of raising objection whenever the documents or materials are marked. So the Supreme Court has appointed a committee and they have selected various places in the country: Delhi, Chandigarh, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. In those places, they have selected 5 districts where the population is 50 lakhs and above, 20 lakhs and above. The process is going on. They have given the time limit. First stage 3 months, second stage 6 months, third stage 9 months, the fourth stage 1 year, the fifth stage. The process continues. The case is still on the list. So therefore, as far as the electronic evidence admissibility is concerned, the present position is, as per Anwar, wherever it is a primary evidence, no certificate is necessary. As far as Shafi Muhammad is concerned, the person who is relying upon the documents, whatever maybe is a printout or a pen drive or CD or output or videography, if he is not in possession of the instrument or the camera or whatever may be used, he need not give a certificate. This is a present position. The further development of law will continue. The Supreme Court is continuing the matter. The matter is still in the list. So ultimate finalization of the roadmap will be completed once the case is over. That is why law must be always stable. Yet it cannot be standstill. Long back, the Evidence Act has come, but they have not amended. They are only adding provisions. To that extent, the Act is very strong, and the further development of law, depending upon the situation, the circumstances, technical development in the field will hold in future course. I thank Cybercrime for giving me the opportunity. Thanking you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tyagarajan, sir.